What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another podcast. In this episode, I'm going to be answering Matt's question again. And make sure you guys leave a question or a comment or a suggestion down below. Basically, this whole podcast series is for that. And I've just been answering Matt's question because he leaves one every time, which I appreciate a lot. And I'll just keep doing it. If it's just me and Matt forever, that's fine with me. But, get your questions in, get your suggestions in here. I'd love to make a video or discussion about whatever you have in mind. So with that being said, Matt asked me, on the weekends or when the market is closed or slow, what and how do you practice? Do you backtest, etc.? Do you recommend using the bar replay? If so, how can we utilize it effectively? Before I used to backtest quite a bit. Like it was like every day I would use the TradingView bar replay that Matt's talking about. And I definitely recommend doing that. The one thing, I'll kind of make this whole episode about backtesting because it's a pretty big topic and it is important to do, obviously. But there's things that you need to keep in mind too. Is that when you're backtesting, you're you're testing, right? Your emotions aren't involved. You're just like, oh, there's a demand zone buy there. Oh, it worked, and your emotions aren't involved, and like it can, like in real life when you're actually trading, that buy that you might be doing on a back testing session might not, like, your emotions might mess with your head there and be like, I don't know if I should buy, and then you hesitate, and then the trade goes in your favor and you miss it and you miss out. Where if you're back testing, there's no money on the line, so you're just like, oh, I'll test it out. If I lose 20% a year on this back test, then whatever. I didn't actually lose 20%. It's a back test, right? So that's just something to keep in mind that, a lot of people don't really consider. I'm not against back testing at all. It's definitely important. But, I mean, to answer your question, when it's the weekend or the market is closed, well, I have this new thing that I've been doing in the past month or two where I draw out all of my zones in the history of however far back my chart goes. So, and I'll probably be making a video on this soon where I'll take the monthly, weekly, and the daily, and I'll go back as far as my broker goes. Like, for example, like my Euro USD analysis, I know starts on the daily time frame. It starts all the way in like 2004, I believe, something like that. And I draw all the trend lines out, all of these zones, and I just watch how price reacts off of those trend lines, what zones those trend lines create. It's a whole process. I'm not going to go into detail about, what makes a real trend line, what makes a real zone, but it's pretty important. So that's something that I've been doing on the weekend, and I'll just go and I'll draw out all my zones. And, every weekend or every time I'm kind of just hanging out around the charts and there's not much going on, I'll go back and look at my zones, and like I'll see that I'll miss some sometimes, or I'll be like, oh, there's this different scenario, right? And as far as the back testing goes, do I back test? I don't as much anymore because I've drawn out so many charts for the monthly, weekly, and daily now that I've seen the same thing happen over and over and over again. So it's kind of like back testing. It's not like back testing as if I'm pressing play. And another thing is, I find the back testing lately on TradingView has been horrible, where you'll draw like a daily zone and then you'll switch to the 4 hour or 1 hour or whatever, and then that daily zone will just completely disappear. I don't know why that's been happening, but it's been driving me nuts. And another thing that I have a really hard time with back testing. I am so bad at it, and the reason is because I have my 4 chart layout, where with TradingView's back testing, it doesn't have that ability. And I also use the COT reports too, so I don't have that data to help aid me. So it's not completely accurate for me, but what I will back test is like trend line break, stuff like that, just to see how they react while, like, quote unquote, live while back testing, right? But as far as on the weekend stuff, yeah, I'm just kind of looking back at all my zones, seeing what I missed, seeing if there's anything I can write down in my journal of what happened here, what happened there. But yeah, I recommend using the bar replay in TradingView, but just remember that your emotions are involved, so your results may vary. Let's just say you do a back test on a pair, daily 4 hour, 1 hour for a year or something like that, and you made 7% that year. Maybe cut that in half based on the fact that your emotions aren't involved, and you're just not trading live. So there's no emotions involved. You're not going to hesitate because you're just taking it. It's not the same. That's my opinion. It's definitely important, though. I definitely highly recommend it. Just because you can see how the trend lines work and how zones work and how they react. It's pretty important. So hopefully that answers your question. Try it out. Just do it. Just practice. Go back and look at zones on a chart. Like, do what I do on the daily time frame. Just go back, look at all the zones, draw some trend lines. You don't need to be doing the bar replay. Like, you're not, like I said, your emotions aren't involved. So the bar, just going back in time can also help too. And that's what I've been doing mainly now. And I'll tell you what, it's given me quite a bit of confidence. So, all right. With that being said, thanks for the question, Matt, and everybody, leave a question or a suggestion down below, and I'll get back to you in the next episode. Cheers.